Hey guys, tonight we're digging into something that starts quiet, almost forgettable, like background radiation, but ends with a question you can't shake. Imagine you're alone, your TV's humming softly, and all the channels are just snow, until one of them isn't. You didn't press anything, it just changes. There's a sound, a voice. This is Analog Horror Files. The broadcast ended in 1992, but the signal returned last week. You probably won't survive this, but hey, it's just a story, right? So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. But only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And tell me where you're watching from and what time it is right now. Bonus points if you're the last one awake. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. It starts at 2:13 a.m. You're sitting in your living room, not quite tired enough to sleep, not quite awake enough to care that you've just watched the same commercial for bathroom grout 4 times. Then your screen flickers, not in a way that suggests cable interference or a cheap HDMI cord. This is slower, intentional. The brightness dips. A sharp tick cracks the speakers, followed by something in between static and a breath. Then, a number, 3. It's large, white, and centered. It holds for about 6 seconds. You blink. Then 2. You lean forward. There's a hissing undertone now. Then swan, then black. No logo, no audio. Just a black screen and your own reflection. Your first thought, naturally, is somebody's messing with me. But you check your phone, no updates, no emergency alerts. You scroll forums, nothing. No one else saw it. And here's the kicker. When you rewind your TV's buffer, there's no sign it ever happened. You consider going to bed, but you don't. Instead, you open your closet, dig through some dusty tech boxes, and unearth an old CRT television you haven't touched since the early 2000s. You plug it in. You connect the rabbit ears. The screen takes longer to warm up than you remember, but there it is, that ghostly flicker, the low hum of the vacuum tube. You start scanning. On channel 74, the screen goes black again. But this time, it stays that way. No snow, no test pattern, just absence. You stare. Then the blackness deepens. Not metaphorically, it literally darkens until your reflection vanishes. The edges of your living room feel farther away. And then, the sound comes. A voice just behind your ears, like someone whispering through a cracked walkie-talkie. You can't make out the words, but you feel them. The cadence is wrong. It skips every 4th beat, and you realize, horrified, it's counting again. Only this time, up. You panic and pull the plug. The TV dies with a sigh. Your apartment is too quiet now. You don't sleep. The next morning, you ask around. No one else noticed anything odd. Online, there's just one Reddit thread with a single upvote, posted by a user who hasn't logged in since. It reads, Channel 74. They're still broadcasting. We were wrong. You learned something weird that day. Channel 74 technically shouldn't exist. Back in the 80s and early 90s, it was a ghost slot, an overflow space for UHF testing, mostly unused outside of fringe markets. The FCC decommissioned most of those bands in the digital transition. But some historians argue whether those UHF ghost slots ever really got deactivated. They say there were still untracked signals bouncing around through 2001, particularly near old broadcast towers left to rot. You find a map of decommissioned analog towers. There's one within driving distance, WKNX Tower 9, supposedly shut down in 1992 after a studio fire. And here's your first historical fact for the night. The Great Media Consolidation Act of 1990 allowed stations to sell out without public notice, so a lot of those closures weren't even reported. You take a drive. It's 40 minutes outside. Town nestled between 2 long-dead gas stations and a thicket of pine that smells like damp tape. The tower's base is still there, its top sheared off, cables dangling like metal ivy. The attached studio is sealed with caution tape, the kind that's so old it looks like crepe paper. And taped to the door, almost invisible under mildew and time, is a laminated sign. Property of Channel 14 archives. Do not remove. Channel 14? That's not the tower's designation. That's different. You push the door. It creaks open. Inside, the air is stale but warm, like someone was just here. Stacks of Betamax tapes line the floor. Some are cracked, others freshly dusted. You pick one up. Broadcast 103B, Feb 14, 1992. You pocket it. Back home, you haul out your dad's ancient Betamax player. Surprisingly, it works. You feed in the tape. Static. Then color bars. Then a woman's face. She's staring directly at the camera. No blinking, no expression. She doesn't speak, but the audio track plays an old weather report. Clear skies tonight. Lows in the upper 30s. Watch for icy spots on the 74. That highway hasn't existed since '96. You scrub through the footage. It loops every 6 minutes, except on the 4th loop. The woman turns her head. You didn't press anything. She looks at you. Then the screen cuts to black. You exhale, finally. But the audio keeps going. It's just a dial tone, warped and bending, until you realize it's mimicking your breathing. You yank the tape out. The player whines. Your phone buzzes. A push alert. No app name. Just 2:13 a.m. Tune in. And now you're not sure if the broadcast ever stopped. You don't remember falling asleep, but when you wake, it's already dark. Your TV, the modern one, is on again, even though you know you unplugged it. The screen glows soft gray. No menu. No input prompt. Just a dull gradient like someone breathing through fogged glass. And then it starts whispering again. This time, it's a voice you recognize, your own, only slower, drawn out. Each syllable, like it's been stretched across decades of degraded tape. You try to record it on your phone, but the mic refuses to catch the sound. Playback yields only silence. You don't try a second time. You do something worse. You sit back down. The next few nights unfold the same way. You resist at first. You tell yourself you'll ignore it. But your hands betray you, flicking the dial to channel 74 every time the clock hits 2:13 a.m. Each night, the transmission changes. Night 3. A man in a lab coat, looping footage of him staring into a mirror, mouth moving out of sync with his body. You notice something behind him, like a second reflection, but it's not copying him. It's delayed, reacting to something you haven't seen yet. Night 4. A map. Blurry and distorted, but the shape matches your own town. Certain blocks are blacked out. One of them is your street. Night 5. A still image. A forest at dusk. At the center of the screen, you, standing half-turned, eyes just a little too wide. The timing is always the same. The image vanishes at 2:27. The broadcast knows how long you'll stay. You research Channel 14 archives, thinking it's some old PBS relic, but it's not in any FCC filing, not in broadcast databases, not even mentioned in niche signal tracking forums, where conspiracy theorists would normally feast on this sort of thing. Instead, you find something stranger, a 1993 police memo, partially scanned relating to a local missing persons case. Scribbled in the margin, barely legible, might be connected to that Channel 14 thing. Tapes didn't match known networks, no timestamps, all loops. And here's your required mainstream history detour. In 1992, Hurricane Andrew devastated the Gulf Coast. Major communications infrastructure was destroyed. Hundreds of towers fell, broadcast stations flooded, and archives were lost. But Channel 14 wasn't in that area. Still, historians argue whether some broadcasters use the chaos to mask rogue transmissions, especially in fringe tech communities where pirate TV had long been a subculture. One fringe theory claims a group of media engineers tried to create a closed feedback broadcast loop, a system that could predict viewer behavior based on signal resonance. You think about that as you watch yourself on TV again, moving before you move. Then your power goes out. All at once, like someone pulled a plug from the sky. The room dims, all except the old CRT in the corner, which flickers back to life without power. The image is crisp tonight, almost HD, It shows a hallway, dim, wood-paneled. A green exit sign glows faintly. You swear you've never seen it before, until you realize, yes you have. It's in the abandoned tower, UKNX Tower 9. You only glimpsed it through the cracked door, but the pattern in the paneling matches. And then the hallway on screen begins to fill with mist. Something walks through it. Not clearly, just outlines. Shaped like a man, but joints slightly. Too sharp, limbs misaligned like a shadow cast by broken glass. It turns, as if seeing you. It raises a hand. You raise yours back. The TV shuts off. The next day, you're more obsessed than afraid. That's the worst part. It's like your brain has been dialed to the wrong frequency. You crave more. You head back to the tower. This time you bring tools, bolt cutters, a flashlight, a recorder. Inside, the air is thick, like the space between pages in an old library. Your boots crunch on moldy carpet. You reach the hallway from the broadcast. It's real. Your flashlight flickers the moment you step past the threshold. The hallway extends longer than physics should allow. You take one step, two. You turn back. The door is gone, just more hallway. You whisper, okay, very funny, as if someone is controlling this. And maybe they are. Your recorder, an old tape model, starts spinning on its own. You pull it from your bag, hit rewind. It stops at the start of a tape you never inserted. The label reads, Return Viewer, File. You press play. The voice that plays isn't yours this time, it's hers, the woman from the original tape. She says, you are not tuned in, you are being tuned. You drop the recorder, and that's when you see it again. That shape, just past the flicker of emergency lights. But now it's closer. You run. The hallway doesn't cooperate. It doesn't twist or elongate like a cliche dream. It just adds more doors, more left turns. You think you've looped until you pass a mirror and see your reflection walk past without you. You scream. Nothing echoes. Finally, a door. You slam through it, fall face first into gravel. When you turn back, the tower is sealed again. Like you never broke in. You don't speak for a while. People ask if you're okay. You lie. But that night at 2:13, you're back in front of the TV, channel 74. This time, it's a test pattern. Color bars. A tone. The words. Final broadcast, T3. You check the Betamax tapes. They're all blank now. Except one new label you swear you didn't write. Do not view before final broadcast. Your hands are already reaching for the player. The Betamax player hums as the tape spins up, smooth and deliberate, like a breath being drawn just before a scream. The screen goes black for a moment, then resolves into footage that looks wrong. Not degraded, not distorted, just wrong. Too crisp, too present. Like it wasn't filmed decades ago, but right now, just beyond your vision, you're looking at a living room. Yours, the same clutter, the same leaning lamp. But the calendar on the wall says April 1992. Your eyes zero in on the couch. There's someone sitting there, back facing the camera. Their outline pulses slightly, as though they're not rendered quite correctly. You whisper, who are you? And on the screen, they tilt their head. A deep, warbling tone cuts through. Half dial tone, half music box. The picture stutters. Static bleeds from the corners like an infection. Then, the screen flashes 3 words. You left it on. You flinch. The power surges in your apartment. Lights flicker like nervous eyelids. Your phone vibrates off the table. It's received. A photo. No sender. No source. Just one image. The hallway from WKNX Tower 9. Except this time, you're in the frame. Let's take a breath. Literally. Did you know that in 1987, a hijacker in a max headroom mask interrupted 2 Chicago TV stations in one of the most infamous unsolved pirate signal takeovers? The signal lasted less than 2 minutes, and no one's ever figured out who did it or how. A fun aside, unless you've been watching someone hijack your life for a week straight. Your research spirals now. You lose hours, then days. Sleep becomes optional. There are whispers of an echo archive. A broadcast myth about a secret library of failed channels, places too haunted or too unstable to air. You read that some viewers claimed these ghost broadcasts weren't just random. They were responses, as though the signal was evolving, studying its watchers, learning what scared them most, and then tailoring the content accordingly. Historians still argue whether any of this was ever real or just urban legend. You stop reading because your TV is on again. Channel 74. No static this time, just an open field. Crooked telephone poles stretch into a horizon the color of old parchment. A hum under the footage, low and bone deep. The kind of hum you don't hear with your ears. The screen zooms slowly as if floating forward. A figure appears in the distance. You recognize the coat first. Your coat, but it's not you. The proportions are off. Too thin, legs too long, head too still. The camera moves closer. It raises its arm, waves at you. The wave lingers a little. Too long, and then it walks off screen. Except, get this, your webcam turns on. You didn't touch it. The monitor beside the TV flickers. Displays a frame from the Betamax tape. Only now, you're sitting in the couch shot. It's layering timelines. Yours, 1992's, something else. You reach to unplug everything. Your hand freezes midair, not from fear, from command. You can't move. On screen, the figure walks back into frame, holds up a sign. Channel 14 requires consent. You feel your head nod. You didn't mean to. You wake up at your kitchen table. It's morning. There's a VHS tape in front of you now. You don't even own a VCR. Written in thick red marker, tuning file 3, Vertex Walk. You find an old combo unit in your closet, still dusty, forgotten since college. You slide the tape in. It clicks home with a softness you don't expect, like a mouth closing around a secret. This time, there's no picture, just black, and footsteps, crunching gravel, breathing, yours. Then, a voice. That same woman, no longer, distant, right next to your left ear. If you're still watching, you've passed the mirror. You jolt. Look around. No one. Your reflection in the blank TV stares back. For a split second, it doesn't match your movement. Then the screen flares into white. A title appears. Channel 14, the final broadcast files. Viewer, 017, you don't. Remember becoming viewer 017. The footage begins. You're walking through a narrow stairwell, concrete, wet, endless. The camera view is from behind you like a found footage film, only you weren't there. Were you? You count the steps out loud. 10, 11, on screen. The you in the video counts too. Perfect sync, until step 23. You say, 23, on screen. You whispers, 23, he's behind us now. You hit pause, but the tape keeps playing. On screen, you sprint. The screen shakes. There's a glimpse of something, tall, eyeless, cloaked in static. The air melts around it like a heat mirage behind a screen. Then the footage cuts. Your current TV returns to the test tone. Final broadcast, T. 2. You sit in silence. Outside, the streetlights flicker. Daylight shouldn't do that. Your neighbor's dog barks, then stops, then barks backward. No, seriously, like someone reversed the sound. The rules are breaking. You pull out the map from earlier, the one from the night broadcast. Your street's still blacked out. You check online Street View. Your house, blurred beyond recognition. You try calling a friend. The ringtone sounds like Morse code. You record it, translate it. It says, stop watching. You almost do. But the moment passes. You sit back down. The Betamax is warm to the touch. Another tape has appeared. You watched it appear. It slid out from the machine without your input. Label, Sleep File 4, Dormant Echo. The lights dim on their own. You press play. The screen shows you sleeping from overhead. But the timestamp says 1992. You were 7. A small figure stands at the foot of the bed. Its face is blurred. head tilted in a slow, hypnotic circle. You see its arms move, not to reach, to tune. You hear tuning forks ringing, dissonant, low. Then, the child version of you opens your eyes and smiles directly into the camera. You don't sleep that night, which is ironic, considering the last tape was titled Sleep File. But who could sleep, knowing that something had been standing at the edge of your childhood bed, tuning you like a piano? The footage replays in your mind. That blurred figure, the look in young you's eyes, too calm, too knowing. You wonder what it meant. Dormant echo, a sleeper cell, a suppressed memory, or maybe, just maybe, you've been broadcasting this entire time, and someone or something has finally decided to watch. You skip work the next day. Maybe you called in sick. Maybe you just forgot you have a job. The days are bleeding together now. The clocks in your house all disagree. One runs backwards. One spins so fast you get dizzy just glancing at it. On the bathroom mirror, a message has been drawn in condensation. Channel 14, 9:41 p.m. Be ready. Except, you haven't showered in 3 days. You pace, you clean, you pretend that mopping the floor can keep reality stable, that organizing your spice rack can drown out the subtle feedback hum now layered beneath every sound in your home. In 1977, an emergency broadcast system test accidentally aired in London, only to be hijacked by a strange metallic voice claiming to be Vrion of the Ashtar Galactic Command. Historians still argue whether it was a prank, a pirate signal, or something more. The message urged peace, but felt more like a warning. You play that clip again, not for the message, for the tone. You realize it sounds eerily like the signal from the masked broadcasts. The timbre is identical. At 9:40 p.m., your screen wakes up without input, no source, no HDMI, just glowing text, receiving final segment. Confirm participant presence. You say yes without meaning to. Your voice moves before your mind does. The screen splits into 4 feeds. Surveillance footage. You recognize none of the locations until the 4th quadrant. That's your living room. Right now, you wave at it. The screen glitches. Your arm lags behind like an online avatar. You are being streamed. But to where? To who? The doorbell rings. The sound slices through the room like a razor. You'd forgotten what a normal chime sounded like. You peer through the peephole. No one. Just the thick hiss of air and a faint rhythmic knock. Not from the door, but from inside the walls. You don't open anything. Instead, you return to the tape shelf. Because yes, now there's a full shelf. 7 tapes, perfectly labeled, each with strange titles like Realignment, Command Wake, and Visitor Split. They weren't there before, or maybe they always were. You pick one up. It's warm, like skin. You pop in Visitor Split. The footage shows a school classroom, vintage early 90s, VHS filter, an empty chalkboard. Children seated, but they're all facing the wrong direction. Chairs turned to the back wall, silent, still. Then one child turns. It's you. You raise a hand and begin to speak. But instead of words, you make dial tones. Pure, eerie sequences. Beep, 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 beep. A teacher enters frame. Their face is pixelated. They lean in close to camera and whisper, "Split successful. Subject no longer fully human." The other children vanish. The camera zooms into your eyes. Inside the pupils, another broadcast, some infinite loop nested inside itself. You reach for the remote. It disintegrates in your hand. You stand up. The air in your apartment pulses like it's breathing. Outside the window, nothing moves. Not the trees, not the sky. You realize with cold clarity that time has stopped, just for you. You retreat into research again, looking for anyone else this has happened to. Reddit, YouTube, fringe forums. You find one promising lead, a grainy clip uploaded in 2008. 37 views. Title: "If you're seeing this, you've already been seen." The clip shows an elderly man in a wheelchair in front of a staticky TV. He whispers, "The channel isn't broadcasting, it's harvesting." Every watcher becomes a repeater. Every repeater becomes content. You rewind it, frame by frame. Behind him, on the wall, there's a newspaper clipping. WKNX, Tower 9, abandoned after 1992. Shutdown, with a red circle drawn around the word shutdown. Next to it, wrong term, should have been quarantine. Historians still argue whether Tower 9 even existed. Some say it was a prototype, a deep state experimental relay. Others claim it never got past the blueprint stage. But here you are, living inside its legacy. You pull up old maps, blueprints, archive schematics. There's no listing for Tower 9's precise location, but there's a consistent blind spot in Michigan. A square-mile stretch with no satellite data, no street views, just labeled unmapped signal zone. You mark it, you print it, you plan to go, to drive there, to see it. But first, one last tape. It's labeled Final Eyes. The handwriting matches yours. You don't remember making it. You play it. This time, it's your bedroom. Live feed. But you're not in the frame. Something else is. A tall figure, half shadow, half static, pacing in slow loops around your bed. You see it lean close to your pillow. The feed cuts to black. Then a single phrase in red letters. "It will look like you." You blink. The tape ejects on its own. The room behind you feels off. You glance at your reflection in the dark TV screen. Your face smiles. You didn't smile. You back away. The reflection tilts its head. You feel it in your bones. Whatever was tuning you is finished. You are perfectly synchronized now. And tomorrow, you're driving to the dead zone. You'll find Tower 9 if it finds you first. Well, you already left the TV on. The drive is quiet, not in the usual road trip way. No hum of tires, no chirping birds, no gas station jingles playing faintly through grimy speakers. Just static. Every radio station. You twist the dial, left, right, slowly, desperately, but it's all the same. A low, soft roar, like wind trapped in a box. Your phone has no signal, no GPS, and yet, somehow, you never make a wrong turn. The route unfolds like it's been waiting. Michigan's trees are heavy this far north. They lean like they know something, tall, watching, maybe even whispering. Around the 93rd mile, your headlights catch a rusted road sign. No text, just a symbol. A circle intersected by a jagged vertical line. That same symbol you've seen on every tape label. The forest gives way to chain-link fencing, half swallowed by vines, twisted in places like something forced its way out. And beyond, it a silhouette. KNX Tower 9, U Park. It doesn't look like a transmission tower, more like an office building lost in time. 3 stories, windowless, lined with dish arrays and rusted antennae protruding like bent insect legs. You approach, no guards, no padlocks. Just a door cracked open, humming gently, as if it's been exhaling for years and finally paused to inhale. You step inside. The air is cooler, sterile, like an old dentist's office, and thick with that now familiar buzz beneath your thoughts. You pass faded posters on the wall. This is a silent site. Unauthorized speech transmits content. Cute. A nearby office has a typewriter. A sheet of paper sits half-typed. Confirm receipt. Archive will assimilate. Do not resist the inversion. Do not look into camera 3. You glance around. Cameras? None. Just a series of convex mirrors, reflecting the hallway infinitely backward. You keep walking. Each room is stranger than the last. A break room lined with static screen TVs, each tuned to a different feed of your life. Your childhood birthday party, you sleeping last week, you driving here this morning. One shows you now, standing in this room, looking horrified. Except, in the feed, you're smiling. Wide, too wide, like the muscles aren't yours. A central, chamber round. Low ceiling. Dozens of broken monitors on the walls, some smashed, some flickering. In the center, a chair, facing a single working screen. You sit. You don't want to, but your body's already lowering. The screen lights up. Logo, Channel 14, file stream operative initiated. Then, your face, speaking, but you haven't spoken. You listen, frozen, as you says, "We broadcasted fear to control it, but fear didn't want control, it wanted form. Tower 9 was the breach, not a tower, a tunnel. We built it to transmit dreams, but we only received nightmares." And when the last viewer tuned out in 1992, it wasn't silence, it was sleep. But now you're here, signal active, broadcast resumed. The screen glitches. Now it shows footage you haven't lived yet. You see yourself walking through the woods, barefoot, eyes empty. You see small towns blinking out. You see antennas rising where none were before. On rooftops, on schools, on people. You see the sky open like film melting under heat. And always, always that phrase, "You are the content." You scream, but the room eats sound. You stand. The door behind you is gone. You turn. The mirrors along the hall, they now show your reflection waving, beckoning. Each wave perfectly timed, until one stops. Just stands there, head tilted, waiting. You stare into it. It blinks, you don't. Then the lights flicker and everything resets. You're back in your car. Morning sunlight, no tower in sight, just forest and dirt road. You check your phone, full bars. 8:59 a.m. No missed calls, no messages. You pop the trunk. Inside, a camcorder. An unmarked tape inside. You press play. It's footage of you in the chair, speaking. Your voice, but wrong. Slower, metallic. Saying things you don't remember saying. We are all antennas now. Resonant meat, streaming endlessly through time. They told us signals were clean, but the signal has teeth. The feed cuts. A final title card. Thank you for watching. Transmission complete. You get home, eventually. Life returns, sort of, but the mirrors behave strangely, and your face sometimes takes a second too long to catch up. The tapes are gone. Your TV won't power on. And yet sometimes, at 9:41 p.m. sharp, your walls buzz, just a little, just enough to remind you, you're still on air. You lie in bed. Now, the air is softer here. No static, no glitching shadows, just that faint hum, like an old refrigerator, or maybe the world turning quietly on its axis. Your muscles unwind slowly, like coils that forgot they could ever relax. Whatever you saw, whatever broadcasted through you, it's quiet for now. Dormant, maybe, or satisfied. You're still not sure whether it was real, if Tower 9 ever stood. If Channel 14 was ever just a channel. Maybe it was all a metaphor. Maybe it's still happening, right now. You listen to the room. Nothing moves. And yet, if you let your eyes drift closed, you can still picture it. The red text, the flickering feed, your own reflection whispering things you hadn't thought yet. But that's all right, because you're here, and I'm here. And this night, like all nights, must eventually fade. So breathe deeper. Feel the gravity of your blanket, the safety of stillness, the weight of having survived another story. Let your mind fold the images away, like old tapes returned to the shelf. They won't bother you tonight. They've already been watched. And like all good broadcasts, they've reached their end. So let the hum fade. Let your breath slow. Let sleep take you, warm and quiet and unfilmed. Sweet dreams.